thanks to the management, Ramchand Prabhu, Ramtuji Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity to do the self-improvement, study and share. I just take it as an opportunity to learn and grow further. And there are a lot of senior Vaishnavas, and especially His Grace Muribhadra Prabhu is blessed and give the permission that I can speak. Many senior Vaishnavas, I don't have authority to speak in front of them, but it's a service, so please accept that as a humble service. Any mistakes I do on the way, please forgive as your child, and allow me to speak and correct when it is appropriate. So today we will be exploring on the Bhagavad Gita text 7.4. I titled it as Krishna's Material Energy, and we'll go for that next. Thank you. We'll do a little Jai Radha Madhav and read through the purport and the verse and explore on the understanding whatever I could edit. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Jaya Okay, thank you. We'll do Mangla Chair. Mangla Charan. So, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Om Jnanatimramdasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Once again, thank you again everyone for giving your valuable time and giving the opportunity for this insignificant soul to speak in front of you, and thank you everyone. So we'll be exploring on the topic of Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So text 4 in the chapter 7, the knowledge of absolute. So as the chapter says, knowledge of absolute, so we'll try to understand that part. I'll recite it and then people can follow afterward. Mumirapina lobayo kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtada bhumirapo nalobayo kamano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtada bhumirapo nalobayo kamano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme Vinna Prakriti Ashtada. Anybody wants to recite? Anybody else? Bhumirapo. Anybody else? Nalobayo. Bhumirapo nalobayo. Kammano buddhirevacha ahankara
Ahamkara iti yam me Bhinna prakriti ashtada Bhumirapo nalo vayu Kamano buddhireva cha Ahamkara iti yam me Bhinna prakriti ashtada.
Okay, thank you. So synonyms, you can read it afterward. Bhumi, earth. Apaha, water. Anala, fire. Vayu, air. Kham, ether. Mana, mind. Buddhi, intelligence. Eva, certainly. Cha, and Ahankara, false ego. Iti, thus. Yam, all these. Me, my. Bhinna, separated. Prakriti, energies. Ashtada, eightfold. Translation: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. We'll read the purport. If anybody wants to participate, that's also okay.
The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord, in his different Purusha incarnations. Expansions, as described in the Narad Pancharatra, one of the Sattvata Tantras.
Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purusakhyani Atho Vidhu Ekam Tu Mahata Swastra Dvityam Dvapanda Samstita Trityam Sarvabhutastam Tani Gatva Vimushchate. Next.
For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as the Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Shirodakshai Vishnu, it is diffused as the all-pervading Supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these 3 Vishnus can be...
Is it hiding? Oh, I think it's a little bit.
Is a temporary manifestation.
Sorry, yeah, that's my.
Energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these 3 written expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material energy. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna isn't the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahma Jyoti, which is the Brahmajyoti, as there are in the Vaikuntha Lokas. And the impersonalist accepts this Brahmajyoti as the ultimate eternal goal. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary or pervasive aspects of the Kshirodakshai Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete, energetic person, and he possesses different, separated, and internal energies. Should I continue?
Yeah, somebody else wants to read?
Yes. In
Okay.
the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8. As above mentioned, out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations, or the gross creations, within which the 5 sense objects are included. They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activity. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahatattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifested the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, you heard the word energy many times. So, definitely it is a topic of interest of this particular verse. And so, the energies, when we talk about energies, we all know that the energies, the different forms of the energies available, and the Lord is saying that the earth, water, fire, and sky, ether, they are all is material energy, separated material energy, bhinna, separated energies. Separated energy, this is a interesting word, that why Lord is saying that this is separated energy. So anything which is separated, you can experience that you cannot get the sense of what the original source is from that. So the receiver, like for example, there is a recording and you hear that recording, unless you are told that this recording is done by, like spoken by this person, like we hear Prabhupada's lectures, right? So unless somebody tells me that this is Prabhupada's lecture, this is Prabhupada speaking, I wouldn't know that this is Prabhupada's lecture. So the one which is, when Prabhupada was speaking that class, that was his, he was physically present, and his, the sound vibrations were felt by the other people at the time. But once recorded and played in a different environment, then it's a separated energy, right? So it's same, Prabhupada is speaking here in the hall as well as he's speaking in the loudspeaker, it's the same energy. But the one played through a tape recorder is a separated energy. So likewise, the Lord is explaining here that all these elements are separated energy from Him. So how do we understand that, what is the emphasis here? That why Lord is explaining that these are separated energy. So we'll go to a little bit reference of what the chapter 7 is targeting here. So I'll try to see if my internet can work here, or otherwise I might have it. So we'll see, I don't know, do you see this?
Yeah.
See?
Yes.
Okay. So, chapter 7, the knowledge of Absolute. Is that gone? You see it, right? It's difficult. What I'm seeing, what you're seeing is different. Okay. So, chapter 7, the original first text starts with Lord says that Tashranu, hear me, right? So, he's going to reveal some secrets, and he's trying to explain Arjuna. Arjuna is just the representative, but we are the one who is being targeted here, right? Because Arjuna is asking all those questions and the Lord is giving all this knowledge, so it is applicable to us equally. So Tashrunu, when Lord says that he is going to reveal something very secret, right? Or the very important knowledge here, right? So that's the first text. And what is it about? It's about the Supreme Personality. It's about the absolute knowledge, right? So whenever we hear that there is a treasure somewhere, right? Our ears are all wide open. That where is the treasure? Can I be the part of that? So it's the same context here. There is a treasure being revealed. Up till chapter 6, Lord was explaining all the various yogas and all that. But now the Lord is revealing more subtle knowledge, right? So that's like treasure. So we need to pay more attention to that. And then in the text 2, Lord says He's going to talk about Jnana and Vijnana, phenomenal and numinous, both knowledges. He's going to tell the fundamentals, He's going to tell the science behind it as well. And then text 3 goes, text 3 goes, out of many thousand men, one may endeavor for perfection, and those who have achieved the perfection, hardly one knows in me truth. So this is very rare. What he's going to speak is a very rare science, meaning like not easily available, right? And the text 4, so this text 3 was done by His Grace Harinam Anand Prabhu last week, and he explored on the how rare it is. He gave the significance of the time, that Brahma is so like trillions of years he lives that, and we are like tiny fraction of 70, 80 years, and that too, how close we are with the Gaura, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu's appearance, and more than that is Srila Prabhupada's revealing all these scriptures. So it's a very rare that we are so close to the Lord's knowledge, and this is something we should pay a lot of significant attention. And then text 4, Lord is giving the first fundamental. What is the material energy? And in text 5 and onward, he will give the spiritual energy and all the other details. So when he says that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego all together, these 8 constitutes my separated material energy. So it means that we need to understand there are 2 parts of that. Okay, we'll go to that. Okay, so I'll try to see if I can expand this picture. Alright, sorry about the diversion here. So you can see this little picture here. This is the Goloka chart. In this, I actually wanted to show you the little details of what this material energy really, how it manifests. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord is giving just the reference of it. In Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Canto 3, he elaborates in detail that how these elements appear. So I'll try to expand. So you see these elements here: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? So they actually are part of our universe. They form the layer of our universe, right? And they are gross component of Mahat Tattva. The Lord created all these elements when he decided that okay, there is need of material world to be created, so he created the material elements. So these are 5 gross elements, and there are 3 subtle elements, right? So I think most of the people in this community probably are aware of this. So should I go in detail? So it starts from in this verse also, Prabhupada also explaining the 3 forms of the Lord Vishnu, Karanodakshay Vishnu, and Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So I'll just go my slides. Okay, so Lord is residing here in the Goloka on this lotus kind of planet. You see, this is the main planet where Lord is residing, and anything from there, next is Mathura Dham, Dwarka Dham, and then comes to Vaikuntha, and then comes to Kailash Dham and Brahmajyoti, and then Karanodakshay Vishnu. Karanodakshay Vishnu is the Braja river. Braja river is where Lord is expanding. It's like in Brahma Samhita, it is said, actually I'm facing back. Okay, give me some magnet. Alright, it's better. You can see and you can see. Okay. Hare Krishna. Sorry about it. So, So I was talking about the Karna Dakshay Vishnu. So Karna Dakshay Vishnu, that's where the Lord is. Lord is like in Brahma Samhita. It is said that Lord takes the breath, like when He is breathing out, all the universes are being produced. So that's this. You can see that Lord is. Oh, my mouse is not visible to you. So in the middle, you see that Karna Dakshay Vishnu. That's where Lord, many universes are being produced, like just like when we are sweating, the little drops of the water comes, right? So very similar to that, these universes produce from the Lord's breathing out, and they are in their unmanifested form, and they expand into the whole universal form, which is done by Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So each universe, Lord expands as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and He resides there, and He creates the diversified creation there. So each universe then manifests, and the outer layer of that universe is relevant to this verse: earth, water, fire, ether, and false intelligence, false ego, and mind. So when this is each universe is created, there is the Kshirodakshay Vishnu inside each universe. Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the one who's part of all the jivas, all the elements, right? And he is responsible for our activities. They say like there is no meaning of energy without the energetic, right? So he is the energetic, and we are just a fragmental part of it, right? So we are his separated energy, and he is the energetic. So energy will not work if the energetic is not there. So he takes the part with us in every little thing, like be it an atom, be it a elephant, or whatever it is. So he is there with everyone as a super soul. He stays there. So that's Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So we discussed, there is a little expansion of, I should have mentioned that. So Krishna, original form of the Krishna, expands into Balram, and Balram then expands into four Chatur Vyuho, which is Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, which they reside in Mathura and Dwarka Dham. And from there, the second quadruple expands, which is Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha again, and they are residing in the Vaikuntha Dham. Vaikuntha Dham, Sankarshan takes the form, Sankarshan expands into Mahavishnu, which is Karodhakshay Vishnu, the first one here. My mouse is not there. So Karodhakshay Vishnu, that's the Sankarshan expands into Karodhakshay Vishnu, and Karodhakshay Vishnu then expands into Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then it goes to the Kshirodakshay Vishnu in every living entity. So this was just a rough overview of it, but there is a little more to that. We're not going to go in this slide. This is a little too much detail. So we expanded the Lord's material energy, and this material energy, there are two parts we can understand this far. Like there is a gross element, and then there is the subtle elements. So gross elements are, we already went through. Remaining three, false ego, intelligence, and mind, is the subtle energy, subtle elements, subtle body. So when I was hearing Prabhupada's classes, he gave an example of, there was a chemist. He developed a theory that life comes from the chemical evolution. and he was propagating that theory all over the world. And he happens to be in California, where one of the Prabhupada disciples was there in that class. Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada. I forgot the name, sorry. So he was the so he asked that question. So that same chemist, he said that life comes from chemical evolution. So this person, gentleman, just asked a simple question. If life comes from the chemical evolution, if I give you all the chemicals, will you produce the life from that? And he was stunned with that. He said that, I'm not sure if it is feasible. So what he is talking about? He is talking about the whole philosophy. He's got the Nobel Prize on that, chemical evolution. Life comes from chemical. So what he was talking, all fake, right? So now this is where the science comes. In the chapter 7, text 2, Lord is saying, I'm going to explain you the Jnana and Vijnana, phenomenal and the science, right? So it's not fake here. It's not just the words. There's a science behind it. What is the science? So life does not come from the chemical, then where the life comes from? So life is coming from, we are fragmental parts of the Lord, right? And other way around is true. The chemicals come from life. How is that? Can you understand? So Prabhupada gave a very simple example that in summer we sweat. We sweat, the sweat water comes, right? So if you keep collecting your water, sweat water, right, it might become a pretty big amount, right? So same thing, the Lord's in the Kshirodakshay Vishnu, he is sweating and the water which is Brija river is filling up, right? So that's a material energy, right? The water is one of the material element. It's being generated from the Lord's sweat, right? So the other example, the baby is in the womb and baby is growing. Why it's growing? Because there is a life. What happens if there is no life? Will the baby grow? No, right? There is a tree, you plant the seed. Seed fructifies, it grows. There is a life. It grows into, like the small seed of the banyan tree becomes a large tree, right? Large tree, right? One small seed becomes a large tree. Where that energy came from? Earth, water, fire, ether, all that. Where that came from? From the soul. The living entity which took birth from that seed. The baby which took birth from the soul entered in the womb, right? That's why the baby grow. When the baby grow, the material energy is being created. So is it not very clear? Is it not explainable as a science right there, right? In contrast to the person who was saying that chemical energy, chemical evolution then develops into life. So this is where the fact is. Now whatever Lord is speaking, it's all science. It is just that we have been brainwashed from our study that we cannot understand it. We don't take it as like a fact, and which is what is our unfortunate situation. So this verse takeaway is that whatever our scriptures has given us, it's absolute truth, and we should take a deep study, and Prabhupada has expanded them pretty nicely with the scientific explanations of that. So there are a few other there was another point here. The few examples of material energy, how this material energy is converting into the life, right? So there's a dead body, right? A dead body cannot interact, cannot develop, cannot produce, right? But if the life is there, it does, right? It interacts, has emotions, it develops, it produces, it has a byproduct, right? So another point is that what is difference between a dead body and a living body?
Living body has soul.
Living body has soul, right? So basic difference, living body has soul. So what can be the conclusion here? Because the soul is there, that's why the body is able to produce, right? Otherwise cannot. Be it is a living entity, be it is a tree, or be it anything else, right? If there is a piece of paper, paper cannot produce another paper, right? So there's a subtle difference, material energy and the spiritual energy. So next text, Lord then expands, right? That there is a spiritual energy also. What is the spiritual energy? The spiritual energy has to come from Lord. Material energy has to come from Lord, right? Both has to come. And the living entities are the one who are exploiting this material energy as a part of being an influence of the material energy actually. Being influence of the Maya, they are exploiting this material energy. The other point might be interesting. Prabhupada says that material energy, for us, we cannot perceive that it is Lord's energy. That's why it is called separated energy, right? But for Lord, it's not that way. For Lord, it is His energy. His energy, so it doesn't mean that even though for us it seems like separated energy, for Him it's all the same energy. For example, Lord Narasimha, He appeared from the pillar. He appeared from the pillar. Pillar is a dead matter, right? So from dead matter, how can anything be produced, right? So He appeared from there because His devotee needs Him. So He could exploit the material. He could use the material energy to, like the earth, water, whatever it is, and take the form, whatever He desired to. So I'm just trying to explain this. There's a very subtle difference, very important difference. That material energy for us is a separated energy. For Lord, it is not separated energy. For Lord, material energy or spiritual energy has no difference. It's all the same. So now the point comes that we as devotees, how do we take all this matter around us, right? How do we perceive that as the Lord's energy, right? So just to help us, Lord expands it in the chapter 7 that He's the taste of water, right? So He has given the components which we can realize from our senses. And He has given us the knowledge how we can understand those components are none other than His energy. And we can relate that and understand them as that it is His energy. Unlike the scientist. So all the scientists have agreed that all this is energy. Like matter is energy. From earth they can produce uranium, they can produce the atom bomb, right? It's energy, they understand it. But the fact they are missing is, it is Lord's energy. So they don't grant that fact. Because of that, they don't advance. They are like, go back to pavilion. They do make progress and then go back to pavilion. So they don't make any real progress. All progress is shram evahi kevalam. So that's another thing I liked it from Prabhupada classes. And I think next we can just summarize it. That we discussed about 3 forms of the Vishnu. Lord Vishnu appears just to facilitate our need for being in the material world, because whatever we did, and we ended up in this material world. Just to facilitate that, Lord Vishnu appeared in 3: Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Chirodakshay Vishnu. So Lord is so kind, you can think of it, that even though we committed our mistakes, And because of that, we needed to come back to material world. But He never left us. He is with us as Paramatma, as Chirodakshay Vishnu, always. So, and then we are part and parcel of the Lord, as a fragmental part of the Lord, part and parcel of the Lord, and as a another interesting thing, if we are part and parcel of the Lord, then what is our duty? Our duty is to serve the whole, right? So serve the whole means serve the Lord, right? So if we don't serve the Lord, what's going to happen? Our existence will go away. Just like a spark when flies from the fire, big fire, it just dies off. But if that spark is near to the fire, it will survive, right? Or if it goes in the flammable place, it will generate a big fire. So in this verse we learn there are 8 major elements, 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements: earth, water, fire, ether, and air. So they are all the gross elements, and 3 subtle elements: intelligence, mind, intelligence, and false ego. We're not going to expand on these elements, but that's what we learned today, and can go for question answers if need to. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
So you were explaining, well, everyone here, whenever they ask a question, they always first start out by saying what a nice class. But I'm a Malecha, so even though you gave a nice class, I won't say that. Instead, I'll just ask my question. You were explaining, so the material energy, it's dull matter. It's only when life is there that it actually does anything. But then we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karna Sabha. Now, we're not the doer, but things are being done by the gunas, the modes, but they're just dull matter. So how is dull matter doing? If the dull matter is doing, then how is that happening? Because dull matter can't do anything without life.
Okay, so you can answer the question as well. Because if I open my mouth, I'll be doing a lot of mistakes. So might be you just answer your own question as well.
I can't say anything, but I understand.
The mic, somebody has to give the mic, Prabhuji.
I have a loud voice. I don't know if I need it.
Thank you, sir. There's a dilemma. I'm not answering the question in the Bhagavad Gita, because it says that we're not the doer. Material energy is dull, and then later Krishna's going to say that he's not the doer. So who's doing? Can we just blame it on somebody else when we do something wrong?
Thank you, Prabhuji. So I'll take that question as your blessings and the feeble attempt. Yes, the matter is dull matter, and Prakriti Kriyamanani Gune Karmani Sarvasa. Gune Karmani Sarvasa. So these 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. All the jivas, all the living entities, they are impacted by these 3 modes of material nature. We are part and parcel of the Lord. The body is made up of the dull matter. But the moment the soul is there, the spiritual energy is there. Soul is nothing but spiritual energy, right? The moment it's there, we have action to do. whatever it is. We have something to do. What we do under the mode of these three material nature, we do something. And what do we do under these modes? Depends on whatever karma we have collected. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord explains the one who is in the mode of goodness, they do good activities. It's simple, I'm just explaining. Mode of goodness, you do good activities, you might be doing charitable work, you might be doing some good work, and passion, you are still passion activities and ignorance, whatever. So the main point here is that we are in the mode of goodness. We are under the influence of these three modes. And then, and the Lord is saying that, as Prabhuji is saying that, that's a very important point. The Lord is saying He is not responsible. All these three modes are part of Him, actually. But He is not responsible. So on one side, this dull matter, other side, these three modes. So dull matter does not do. We are part of the Lord, and we cannot do anything because we have to be, somebody has to be activating us, which is three modes. Three modes is part of the Lord. If three modes are getting us done everything, why am I responsible? Three modes is doing everything, right? So that's a very interesting point then, right? So chapter 13 describes a little bit of that. If I recall correct, so our karmas are there. Our karmas build on it, and based on that, Lord grants us. And for example, in the field, right, we plant the seeds. We plant the seeds grows, right? And whatever the seed we planted, that grows, right? It's a mango, the mango tree comes. Whatever we put something dirty thing, that dirty thing comes, right? So whose responsibility is that? Is it the land's responsibility that this thing is growing? Or is it the responsibility of the person who puts the seeds, right? So obviously it is the responsibility of the person who puts the seeds. And in this example, who's putting those seeds? Us. Even though we are in the mode of influence, right? When I'm walking on the road, I have an option. I can go to temple, I can go to movie. I make the decision that let me go to temple, okay? Then you did something, and then that's your activity, my activity. If I go to movie, that's my activity, right? So how Lord is responsible? Lord has just given us three modes influence. So that influence is telling me that I need to make a decision here. I am capable of making that decision here. That's it. After that, nothing else. So, thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry if I spoke too much. Pardon.
You gave a very wonderful answer. I can add a little bit to that. I have to wait for the microphone. The Acharyas explained another understanding of why he separated. Because what happens is the Lord infuses His potency into the material energy, and then the material energy works. And so, but as you said very nicely, we can't see the Lord behind it. The material energy is working. So we know that Krishna says later in the Bhagavad Gita, Yantra Mulyani Maya, that we're sitting on a vehicle made of the material energy just being carried around. But I hate to give you credit, but I have to in this case. You made the point very nicely that we have the desire. That's all we can do. We can desire. The movies, what's playing in the movies? Maybe I should have gone, yeah. The movies or the temple. And then, based on that desire and our karma, then Shirodakshai Vishnu, who's there, he infuses the material energy, and the material energy reacts to that. So you explained that very nicely, and I appreciate it.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, while you were giving the class, I was getting recollections of my high school chemistry and physics lectures. I was remembering the Mendeleev's periodic table with all the elements, which form the universe, and also astrophysics. The physicists try to reason and put forward theories about the origin of the universe, the present state of the universe, and also the evolution and the future of the universe. There are many things here which do not fit well with especially the theories from astrophysicists. There is also a very commonly known and very highly acceptable theory of Big Bang, that the universe originated with a Big Bang and all the planetary systems evolved from one big piece of rock or something. So what is your view on that, and how do we reconcile the two?
Hare Krishna. So, question is actually pretty simple, but the answer depends on what is the state of mind you are in. So, it's a very common question that the whole creation happened through the Big Bang, and even the people who are proponent of that creation happened through Big Bang, they don't have any proof of it. They don't have any proof. Neither they have proof, neither they have science behind it actually. Just think of it, whatever they have, I have not read that theory, but I know that in the spiritual science, in the way Prabhupada has explained, right, the level of detail given here, that Krishna expands into Balaram, and there is an expansion of the then the second expansion, then there is such a level of detail. Where will you find that detail? It's just unfathomable that somebody can make up that level of detail with the names and so much. Not only this, how it happens, how it annihilated, and then how it is recreated. This is going on. Infinite cycle is going on and on and on. And the simple example is, if the Big Bang could have produced it, right? Why don't you take all those materials and create a Big Bang, some prototype of it, and create something out of it? They have no way of creating anything out of it. Forget about it. Srila Prabhupada take the example of the mosquito. A mosquito can fly like anything. Forget about the living entity. You just design a little helicopter of that size of the helicopter, of the size of the mosquito, and make it fly like the way it is done. So how is it possible a Big Bang can generate so much of matter and generate all these living entities which are individually working in a different nature, have their own path of processing the environment? How is that possible, right? So it falls back to the same matter, that chemical evaluation, like the example was given in Prabhupada's class. Things developing because of certain type of chemical evaluation, or by chance, some certain chemicals put together by chance, they produced a life, and a life is produced and the life produces other life. What is that by chance? Is there any science which can explain by chance? There's no science which can explain by chance. Here Lord himself is giving explanation. There's no by chance. Here is the science, here is the Gyan, and here is the Vigyan of that. Here is the knowledge, and here is the scientific proof of that. It's the unfortunate thing the receivers on the other side cannot fathom that. If you pick up a baby and explain them of the neural science, there's no way the baby is going to understand. That's the same equation here. So this science they cannot understand, so they disregard it. That hey, this is useless. You just made it up. Hey, you don't understand it, what we can do? Prabhupada many times says that sun comes, light comes everywhere. The one who recognizes the sunlight is there, that person is in the light. But there is a person who sits in the dark room and says there is no sun. That is the situation of those scientists, Big Bang Theory scientists. Sitting in the dark room, there is no sun. Vishnu, thank you. Any other questions? I think we are running short of time now. So thank you everyone. Please forgive any mistakes I may have done.
Okay, let's give another round of applause to Gopal Govind. So those who are from this area, Bergen area, if you'd like to join, every Friday they have a program in Bergen area, and you can inquire from him where it is. The next program and how to include you in that. So I'd also like to welcome one new family just came in from Jersey City. Just your name again. Your name again? Vipul from West New York. Okay, let's welcome him. Right? With their parents visiting from India. Is that right? So now we will honor Prashadam. Just give us a few minutes till we set up the tables, and some devotees can help in the back set up the tables and chairs. Hare Krishna.